How is it going, guys? Our media here, and we are back with my third annual NFL mock draft. This year, we're going to do it through NFL Predict the Pick. I usually did it through just like my own pictures and whatnot, but this year, we're doing it a little later than usual, so I'm going to do it on here, show all my picks here. It'll be easier to talk about it, get it edited, and get it up in time for the draft, which is Thursday. We're doing this on Tuesday, right after the Seattle Seahawks acquired the 29th pick in the draft for sending Frank Clark to Kansas City. So we're going to hop right into it, and I already have the pick highlighted I want to pick for the Arizona Cardinals. We are sending Kyler Murray to Arizona with the first pick there. Everything I've seen is pointing to Murray going first. He has the potential to be a franchise quarterback. I don't know what's going to happen with Josh Rosen, but when you see a franchise quarterback there, in my opinion, you have to take them. Whether Rosen is one or not, I'm not sure, but I think Murray has the potential to be one too. I don't know about Cliff Kingsbury and what his system will do, but I think Murray has high potential. Let's go on to the San Francisco 49ers, and I have them taking, in my opinion, the best player in the draft this year, Nick Bosa. He's super polished. Let's click on him here. Super polished, brother of Joey Bosa. He's just an overall great player. It'll improve the 49ers edge rush, which has been lacking with all these picks they've been getting from edge rush and can't really get anything out of them. I think Nick Bosa is about as can't miss as you can get. So he's going to go second in my draft. Third overall, the Jets. Someone you could also argue is the best player in the draft, Quinnen Williams. I have him going here at 3. I don't care about like scheme fit or system or whatever you think. Quinnen Williams is one of the best players in the draft. He'll help bolster the line, and he's a really good player in my opinion. I don't think the Jets can really go wrong with him. So number 4, Oakland. Another not super big surprise. I have them going Josh Allen from Kentucky. Raiders need lots of help on edge rushing. They need help on the defense everywhere, to be honest. 2 of their 3 picks in the first round, I'm going to have them going defense. Spoiler alert. They really need help there, though. And Josh Allen's where you start. Again, as the bio here says, great speed, size. He's exactly what you want from an edge rusher in the modern NFL, so I think he's a great fit here for Oakland. Number 5, we're going to stop the defensive lineman run for Tampa. They need a linebacker badly, so I'm going to have them going Devin White. It's their biggest need, especially with the departure of Quan Alexander. Devin White, great size, great speed, killed it at the combine, has huge upside as a player if he can learn. Doesn't necessarily have the instincts yet, but I think that can be developed. The thing you can't develop is that size and that athleticism. So I have the Tampa going Devin White at 5. At 6, I'm going to have the Giants go Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State. They need life after Eli, and Haskins is an excellent player. I think he's can't miss. The only one who's definitely can't miss in this draft, in my opinion, besides Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's going to be pretty good. That's why he's going first overall. QB is the most important position on the football field. I have 4 going in the first this year. You can't win without one, so first and foremost, if a team needs one, they're taking one. And the Giants need one. Eli Manning is not going to cut it, so they're going to take Dwayne Haskins here at 6th overall. Okay, so next we're going to go 7th overall, the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to go back on that defensive lineman run, and they're going to take Ed Oliver. He is a freak athlete. I'm not going to quite compare him to Aaron Donald, but without Malik Jackson on this defensive line, I think Ed Oliver can come in and produce about as well as Malik Jackson did. I think Oliver's can't miss with his athleticism, and they do have some offensive line problems, but I think the defensive line is just as important for Jacksonville, so they're going to select Oliver here. At 8, the Lions are going to do a similar thing. They're going to select Montez Sweat. This isn't it's exciting. Montez Sweat had an insane combine. And Detroit needs edge rush, which besides quarterback is the most important place to play in football. So I think this pick's pretty simple. Montez Sweat's really good. He's going to go 8 to the Lions. The Buffalo Bills, we're going to have the first offensive lineman come off the board, and I'm going to have them select Jawan Taylor out of Florida. The Bills last year's defense was among the league's best, surprisingly, ranking in second in most major categories, but the offense was among the worst, which is saying something because when the offense is bad, it kind of gives the defense the opportunity to be bad. However, because the offense was so bad, the Bills need to get better. I think they helped themselves in free agency with wide receivers, such as Cole Beasley and picking up John Brown. But I think this offensive line needs to be fixed to help Josh Allen, and Jawan Taylor's a good pick. At number 10, before I promised that if a team needs a quarterback, I'm going to have them take one. And Denver needs life after Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is not the answer. He's not going to win another Super Bowl because Denver doesn't have the defense like that Baltimore Ravens team did. So they need a quarterback. Locke has the physical traits to be excellent, but he needs to learn. A few years behind Flacco could help him. I don't want to make this comparison necessarily, but this situation could be like a Smith to Mahomes kind of thing. With a year of Flacco and then getting to Drew Lock, he's going to be excellent. Next, I have the Cincinnati Bengals picking, and I'm going to have them take the second linebacker. The first 11 picks, Devin Bush out of Michigan. I think Devin Bush is about as good as Devin White. Bengals desperately need linebacker help. So I think their offensive line got a little better this offseason. I don't think it's as glaring as it was with the acquisition of John Miller. But linebackers is horrible. Their best linebacker is Preston Brown. He was hurt for a lot of last year, so Devin Bush is going to help solidify that. I'm going to have a bit of a surpriser here. This is a pretty standard first 11 picks here for the most part, but at 12, I'm going to have the Green Bay Packers selecting DK Metcalf out of Ole Miss. I might be a dude who's overly high on receivers, and I understand that. And receivers can be kind of like running backs and be dime a dozen, but I also think they can completely change you. The best way to help Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, because I like the Packers line right now, is getting weapons for him. I'm not ready to take a tight end yet, even though Hawkinson is pretty good. I think Green Bay can get a tight end later. A little spoiler alert. So I think DK Metcalf is a game changer. Pair him, Devontae Adams, a little more Jimmy Graham. It could be dangerous with Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to select, just thinking of that scares me in the NFC North. So I'm going to have them taking DK Metcalf at 12. Packers getting back underway here. So at 13, I'm going to go back on the defensive lineman one with the Miami Dolphins, and I will have them select... Where is my guy? There he is. Brian Burns out of Florida State. This dude is fast. Edge rush is the most important position besides quarterback. And I think the Dolphins are obsessed with Tua Tagovailoa. So Brian Burns is a no-brainer here for me. The Falcons, they need a need on defensive line as well. So the one I am opting for them to take here is Christian Wilkins out of Clemson. I really like Clemson. Of course I like Clemson. They're super good. There's going to be a bunch of Clemson defensive linemen going in the first round. However, I really like Wilkins. Great leadership, and he backs up with his play. Just watch him in his tape of the national championship game. He nailed it against Alabama. So I think Wilkins is a player who could come in immediately and play for the Atlanta Falcons with an already okay defensive line, but he's going to help bolster that for sure. 15, Redskins fans, don't kill me. Case Keenum is not the answer. So I'm going to have you guys select Daniel Jones from Duke. I really like Dan. I'm not going to say I really like him because I just apologize for it. But he has some high upside. If you look at him, he has traits you'd like to see in a quarterback. I think sitting behind Keenum will definitely benefit him. And I think he could be the guy in Washington. But I think Washington is better off finding their guy now than later. And if Daniel Jones doesn't pan out, I'm sure they'll be in the top 5 soon to take another guy. But I think this is a good pick here. If you need a quarterback, I say it, go get one. So I'm going to have them go get one. At 16, the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to have them going the next offensive lineman. I'm going to have them selecting Jonah Williams out of Alabama. Panthers need to protect Cam Newton. I don't even know if he's healthy at this point, but if he is, they have to protect him better. And I think it's pretty simple. Jonah Williams is a great offensive lineman, best one in the SEC, so he's going to go here to the Panthers at 16. We're going to go another offensive lineman right here at 17. I'm going to have the New York Giants select Dalton Risner. They have the center position, a bit of a question mark. Right tackle's a bit of a question mark for the Giants. Risner can play both. Super versatile. I like what I see from him. I like. We're gonna get to Andre Dillard, but I think Risner is comparable to him, and he's a very smart pick here for the Giants at 17. And with Dwayne Haskins in the future, Saquon Barkley, a receiving core that isn't too shabby, and with this offensive line, they can focus on defense for the rest of this draft and the next couple drafts because the offense is stacked in my opinion. So Dalton Risner will go here at 17 to the Giants. 18, this one is a pretty popular pick for the Giants. I have them selecting Cody Ford out of Oklahoma, kind of like Risner. He's a super versatile guy. He can play tackle, he can play guard, and Vikings need to protect Kirk Cousins better. It's not a super exciting pick for the Vikings, but they need this because Kirk Cousins struggled last year. So I'm going to have them going Cody Ford here. Titans are an interesting team. I think they have to get older, and I don't know if Mariota is the answer for sure, but I'm going to have them going defense here. I think the Titans are a competitive team this year, and they definitely will win a lot of games. But I have them selecting Clelin Ferrell. He's an excellent defensive lineman, excellent edge rusher. Edge rush is the most important besides quarterback. Titans think they have their quarterback. I'm not exactly sure if they will. Ferrell falls a little bit to the Titans here, so they get a nice value pick and select Cleveland. I haven't had a defensive back go yet, and it's definitely time for that in my opinion. The Pittsburgh Steelers need one badly, so I'm going to have them selecting Greedy Williams, the corner out of LSU. Best corner in the draft in my opinion. He's got the height, weight, speed you're looking for. He's got the coverage skills. The big knock on him is his tackling, I guess. But he's probably the best tackler in the Steelers secondary already. I like the pick here. Steelers are going to go Greedy. So this is where things get a little interesting. I hope things have been interesting the whole time. But I had this pick before the trade today, and I think it makes even more sense after the trade, getting rid of Frank Clark for Seattle. I have them going defensive lineman, and I have them picking Rashawn Gary out of Michigan. Again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but this edge rusher class is excellent. And Rashawn Gary is an athletic freak. If Pete Carroll, which I expect he can, and that defensive staff over in Seattle can get out of Gary what Harbaugh couldn't necessarily at Michigan in the production, I think this is a home run pick, considering people have him going as high as 6 to the Giants or 8 to the Lions. I really like Gary here at 21 to Seattle. Okay, Baltimore Ravens. They need receivers badly. So there's going to be one picked here. Besides Willie Snead, who is okay, Willie Snead is fine. The best receiver on the Ravens roster is maybe Chris Moore, who all I remember him for is as a Bengals fan. Well, first of all, he played at Cincinnati, but he caught a ball He like fumbled it into Darqueze Dennard's hands and he took it back for a touchdown. So that's not super inspiring. I have them selecting my second favorite receiver in the draft, N'Keal Harry, out of Arizona State. I think he's the most complete receiver in this draft. I think DK Metcalf's too much of a freak to pass up on him, but N'Keal Harry, I think, is the most complete receiver I've seen here. He's consistent at Arizona State. I really like what I've seen from him, and I think he'll be the wide receiver 1 for the Raiders, or the Ravens, if they select him here. I really like the pick. Again, I might be a little high on receivers, but Baltimore needs one badly, so I'm going to have them select N'Keal Harry here. At 23, for Houston, I'm going to finally have Andre Dillard come off the board. He's been sitting there for a while, and I think he complements very well for what the Texans are trying to do. The one unproven thing about Andre Dillard is his run blocking skills, because he didn't do that much in Washington State because he was with Mike Leach in that air raid style. But Houston, with Bill O'Brien, is pass heavy as well. They need people to protect Deshaun Watson because, God, that offensive line is awful. He doesn't quite have the versatility of the guys who have gone already, but I think he's exactly what the Texans need, and he's a great offensive lineman, so I'm going to have him going 23 here to Houston. 24, I'm going to have another guy who slipped a little bit going to the Raiders. Their best tight end right now is Lee Smith, so I'm going to have the Raiders selecting TJ Hawkinson here with the 24th pick in the draft. Just give Gruden more weapons to work with. Give Carr more weapons. Hawkinson's going to come in. Probably will start right away. Iowa tight ends have been looking pretty good lately, especially with the rise of George Kittle. So I'm going to have Hawkinson go here at 24. At 25, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. I have a bit of an unconventional pick here, and I'm going to have the Eagles, or it's conventional but unconventional. I don't know. I'm going to have them going Rocky Ya-Sin from Temple. I really like Rocky Ya-Sin, and I really like what the Eagles have done. I really like what their offense looks like. If Jason Peters is playing, I guess that's a bonus. But I like what their offense is for the most part, especially with the acquisition of Jordan Howard and Deshaun Jackson. I don't like the value at linebacker here. I'd take one if there's one good enough. So I think corner's probably the choice here. And Rocky Ya-Sin's a local dude from Philly. He's going to play his heart out for you, super good. I just like that pick here. The local dude from Temple going to the Eagles here. They need corner at 25. They're going to pick Rocky Ya-Sin. The fans will love him. At 26, we're going to go back to the defensive line, of course, because I preach and preach and preach. That's the most important thing besides quarterback. And the Colts have their quarterback in Andrew Luck. He's back and as good as ever. And I'm going to have them going Dexter Lawrence from Clemson. This is the third defensive lineman going from Clemson in the first round. And the Colts' best defensive tackle right now is Margus Hunt, who couldn't play for the Cincinnati Bengals. That's a bit concerning. So Lawrence will come in, start right away, and help bolster that Colts offensive line. I think this is a great pick. Lawrence fell a little bit to the Colts. They're super excited he's here, and they're going to get him here at 26. Now, 27, I'm a little concerned about my secondary still if I'm Oakland. So I'm looking at Byron Murphy from Washington. Garyon Conley is probably their best corner right now, and he was hurt most of last year. So we don't know exactly what we're going to get from Conley. So if he doesn't pan out, Murphy's a good dude here. And across from him, there isn't really much to inspire confidence from them either. So I think the Raiders need to address secondary. Byron Murphy fell a lot. I think in other drafts, without such defensive lineman depth, he would be like a teens to maybe top 10 pick. But he fell from circumstance, so I'm going to have them taking Byron Murphy here. If you look at the NFL thing here, it says they have 4 needs, and they've filled 3 of them, and I'm not super high on the running backs in this class. So really good 3 picks from the Raiders here. 28, the Chargers. There's a lot of things I see them going, or people say that they're going, and I see something different than a lot of people. I see them going receiver. They have pretty much the same offensive line as last year, and it wasn't that bad to where Phillip Rivers would be in trouble. So I don't think they need to go offensive line. They definitely need interior defensive tackle help, but I think they want to win this year. So a dude like Jeffrey Simmons, defensive line, is risky, and Tillery's there, but the thing I'm worried about is Tyrell Williams is gone. They have Keenan Allen, who stayed healthy last year, but look, he hasn't been able to stay healthy that often. And then Mike Williams, who also can't stay super healthy. So I'm going to have them taking A.J. Brown, the wide receiver, out of Mississippi to give Phillip Rivers more help, hoping that something happens with the Kansas City Chiefs and they can make a Super Bowl run this year. I think their window is still open, and A.J. Brown can help them out a lot. So I'm going to have them going that at 28. At 29, we're going to go back to the secondary. I don't think Seattle will go defensive line twice. They could double dip because that's a huge need for them. But I like what Seattle has on offense currently. So I'm going to have them going corner. I'm going to have them select DeAndre Baker out of Georgia. Again, another corner I like a lot. They already grabbed the defensive line. Now they're going to bolster up the secondary. I think DeAndre Baker for Frank Clark, who didn't really want to be there, is a good trade-off, especially since he kind of dipped a little bit. So DeAndre Baker's going to go here at 29 to Seattle. At 30, I already foreshadowed this. This is a pretty popular pick, but I'm going to have the Packers taking the second Iowa tight end in the first round, Noah Fant. Another weapon for Rodgers. Rodgers needs to perform for this team to have any success. You saw what the team was like with DeShone Kizer and Brett Hundley and whatever backup quarterback they had on the team when Rodgers was hurt. And I like them enough. I like the line enough, like I said earlier, for Rodgers to get his weapons. And then for the rest of the draft, defense. But in the first round, I think it's important to make sure Rodgers has his weapons. And another one to be paired with Jimmy Graham, he's going to have DK Metcalf, Devontae Adams, Jimmy Graham, Noah Fant. The Packers don't have much of an excuse not to do well this year. But I'd be really excited if that's what they did in the first round if I were Packers fans. At 31, the Rams were going to go back to the defensive line, and this is where Jerry Tillery is going to come off the board for me. Rams need to replace Ndamukong Suh, and Tillery is a solid option. He fell a little bit. I think he'd probably be top 15 at least if he didn't get hurt during the year. So he falls, but I think he's a super solid option and will help the Rams continue to compete for a Super Bowl as he's here. And then the final pick in the first round, his picture isn't here. He tore his ACL, but he is like a top 5 pick otherwise. And I'm going to have the New England Patriots selecting Jeffrey Simmons right here from Mississippi State. Simmons would have been a top 10 pick if not for the torn ACL. And when he's back, whether it's this year, whether it's not, maybe it's a Brady-less New England team, maybe it's not. Either way, he's going to dominate on the defensive line, which like their best defensive tackle right now is Lawrence Guy. So he's going to dominate and try and bolster this defensive line that's pretty weak, especially without Matt Patricia coaching them. So that's what I have here. That's my first round in the NFL draft. I think I have a pretty solid draft here. If you hate my pick, if you completely disagree with it, make sure you comment down below. I like to discuss with people in the comments about why I'm an idiot, because I know I am. And so that's it. That's the first round. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Make sure you like the video and subscribe, though. Thank you guys for watching. It's draft season, guys. Hopefully I'll see you Friday making a bit of a reaction video. Bye-bye.